In today's video, I will show you the brand new way to do boot Debian Linux version 13 with Windows 11. This method makes it very easy to install Debian 13 alongside Windows 11 on the same drive and is one of the safest ways to set up a dual boot on any computer without risking data loss. However, it's recommended to back up your most important files to the cloud or external drive. Also, at the end of this video, I will show you how to safely remove Debian Linux from the dual boot. Now be sure to watch the video until the end to avoid any confusion. Now check the description below for valuable information, timestamps, and download links. The only requirements of this video, you need Windows 11 or Windows 10 installed on your PC or laptop, and 8 gigs or higher USB drive to create a bootable disk with Debian Linux, at least 50 GB of free space reserved from your existing drive. Before installing Debian Linux, it's recommended to create a system restore point on your Windows computer. Now go ahead and search for restore point in the start menu and open it. This tool allows you to take a snapshot of the system current state. If something goes wrong with the Debian installation, you can use this backup to restore your system back to the normal state. If you are using Windows 11 Professional, disable BitLocker encryption before proceeding. BitLocker can interfere with Linux installations. For Windows 11 home users, this feature is disabled by default. Now let's proceed with creating a free space for Debian Linux. Right-click on the desktop and open Terminal. Then type disk mgmt and press Enter to access the Disk Manager, which displays all drives and their partitions. In my case, you can see that one drive is connected. Drive 0 has 3 partitions. The first one is the EFI partition, where the Windows bootloader is present. The second one is the main Windows, and the last one is the recovery partition. I'm going to choose the C drive to shrink the free space for Debian Linux. In your case, it might be D, E, or F, whatever. Just choose any partition and right-click on it. Then choose Shrink Volume and allocate a minimum of 40 GB or more for Debian Linux. You can type the value in megabytes. In my case, I'm going to allocate 200 GB. You can also use calculator. Then click on Shrink. This will create unallocated free space. And that's it. Now we have done creating a free space for Debian Linux. Now open your web browser and visit the official Debian Linux website. Then click on Download Mirrors and select the mirror closest to your location. Now from here, choose Debian 13. Then select the AMD 64-bit architecture. And finally, click on ISO DVD and download the latest ISO file. Next, download Rufus from its official website. Once both files are downloaded, save them somewhere on your computer for easy navigation. Now open Rufus, then connect your USB stick to your computer. Select the USB drive and import the Debian 13 ISO file. I'm gonna choose the partition scheme as GPT, as this laptop uses UEFI BIOS mode with the GPT partition scheme. Then follow the prompts and accept to start creating a bootable USB with Debian 13. Now this will take some time depending on the writing speed of your USB drive. Once it's done, it's time to boot the system into BIOS. You can reboot the PC and boot into BIOS using the keyboard shortcut based on your motherboard. Now mostly it could be F2, F9, F10 or the escape key. In the UEFI BIOS, first enable USB boot. Now go ahead and disable secure boot. It's not mandatory since Debian Linux can run just fine with secure boot enabled. However, I prefer to disable for this setup. If you mainly use Windows and care about its security policies, I would recommend keeping secure boot enabled. Also, in my case, I'm going to clear keys or certificates after disabling the secure boot. Then change the boot order by setting the USB drive as primary boot device. Once it's done, save the changes. Now your system will boot into Debian from the USB drive. If it fails to boot, use the boot menu to load Debian install media. Now choose graphical install option. Now if in case you're trying to install Debian 13 on a PC, it's recommended to connect the Ethernet cable for the internet connection. Now choose the language. In my case, I will choose English as my default system language. Next up, choose your location and keyboard layout. Now the installer setup will start loading all the components and wait for a few seconds. Now configure the network. You can choose Ethernet or WLAN interface for the internet connection. If you don't see these options, you can go back and click on Detect Network Hardware. Now this will scan and identify the available network interfaces. For now, I'm going to select the WLAN interface and connect to my Wi-Fi network. Now set the host name. And for the domain section, I will leave it as empty. Now set the password for the root user and create a normal user account by entering the username and password. It's time to create partitions for Debian Linux. In this video, I will be using the automatic option. I'm going to choose the largest continuous free space. Now this will find the free space that we created for Debian Linux in the beginning of this video and creates a required partitions. If in case you have a spare drive on your PC, you can choose entire disk and select the appropriate drive. But for now, I'm going to choose the first option. Now as you can see, these are the 3 new partitions it has created, and click on continue. The installer will start installing the basic system files. Once it's done, you will be presented with this menu where you have to choose your desktop environment. You can choose GNOME, Plasma, and XFCE. In my case, I'm going to install the GNOME desktop environment and click on continue. Now sit back and relax. The installation process may take some time depending on the writing speeds of the disk. Once it's done, go ahead and restart the computer. While it's restarting, eject the pen drive. Now by default, it will boot into the GRUB menu. Now from here, you can boot into Windows 11 or Debian Linux. If in case you don't see the GRUB boot manager and your system boots directly into Windows 11, just restart your computer. While it's restarting, press the BIOS key to enter the BIOS settings. In the BIOS, look for the boot options and select the primary boot device as OS Boot Manager under the UEFI section. Then make Debian as the default boot manager. Once you have made the changes, reboot your system. Now you should see the GRUB menu. Now from the Login Manager, you can choose either Valent or Xorg. If you're using an older system, I recommend selecting Xorg for better compatibility. For now, I'm going to choose Valent. Once you have logged into Debian 13, if you try to update source list using the terminal, you will see this message. Now, by default, only root users can run system-level actions. We're gonna fix that issue. In my case, KSK Royal is the default user. I'm gonna add this user to the sudoers list to gain elevated privileges. To do so, type this command to log in as the root user and enter the root password. Then type nano etc sudoers and scroll all the way and add this line, exactly what you see next to the root user. In your case, replace this part with your username. And that's it. Now press Ctrl+O and press Enter key to save the changes. Then press Ctrl+X to exit. Now exit from the root user. Now if you run any command using sudo, it should work fine without any issues. If your computer has NVidia discrete graphics card, we are going to install the NVidia proprietary drivers for hardware acceleration. Now this step is completely optional. If your laptop or PC is more than 6 years old, you can safely skip this step. To install NVIDIA drivers, first run this command to install the required dependencies. Next, run this command to modify the apt source list. Then add the contrib and non-free repositories. Now this way, we can easily install NVIDIA drivers. Once added, press Ctrl+O to save the changes. Then hit Enter and exit with Ctrl+X. Now update your source list by running this command. Now don't worry about any warnings that appear. After that, run this command to automatically install the NVIDIA graphic drivers. Once the installation is complete, reboot your computer. And finally, open terminal and run this command to verify the NVIDIA driver information. And that's pretty much it. This is how you dual boot Windows 11 and Debian Linux on any PC or laptop. As a bonus part of this video, if in case you don't like Debian Linux and decided to uninstall, then reboot your computer back to Windows 11. Now open the disk manager by typing this command on the search menu. Now here in my case, next to the C drive, 3 new partitions are showing. We need to delete each partition one after the other. Now simply right click and choose delete volume. Now as you can see, I have deleted the root and swap partitions, and there is no option to delete the boot EFI partition. We're gonna go ahead and use command prompt to remove this partition. To do so, go ahead, open cmd and run as administrator. Then type disk part and press enter. Then type list disk. Now this will show all the drives connected to my PC. Now as you can see, drive 0 is the only drive connected to my computer where Windows are present. I'm gonna go ahead and select this drive by typing this command. Now I'm gonna type list partition to see all partitions of this drive. If you notice carefully, partition 5 is the Debian EFI partition, which we failed to delete from the disk manager, which is this one. Now as you can see, it's around 977 megabytes. We're gonna go ahead and delete this partition. To do so, type this command to select this partition. Then type delete partition, overwrite and press enter. Now as you can see, under the disk manager, it's now deleted and we gain back the free space. You can use this free space and merge it back to Windows 11. And that's it, we have successfully removed Debian Linux from the dual boot. Now restart your computer. It should boot your system into Windows 11 directly and you won't face any issues. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you have any questions or queries, do post them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. This is been KSK Royal. I will see you in the next one.